Hello, friends. I am so excited that you are tuning in today to listen to the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur podcast. Each week, we bring on incredible women who are building a business here on earth and building out the kingdom in heaven. And so, we wanted today to kind of do a little mashup where we have asked every single top income earner, incredible women what their definition of the kingdom minded mompreneur is and what it means to them. And I think your heart and soul and your mind, you will be so blessed at the end of this episode. So tune in to hear so much wisdom and just women of faith speaking from the heart who have incredible success in the industry, but also know what it means to keep God first. Welcome to the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur, where we, Becky
and Monique, your new biz besties, both busy moms just like you.
We're here to talk all things network marketing, mom life, and how to truly live out your calling. We'll be dropping 2 episodes each week to help you, the busy mompreneur, know the exact strategies to build both your business and your home. You'll hear each week from one of the top network marketers on their best tips for what's led to their success and what's working now.
We know that you're here because you are called to something more. You have a desire to succeed in both your business and at home, and we are going to teach you how. If you love what you hear here on the podcast and want to be one of our success stories, join us inside our community, the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur, where we provide a daily social media action plan, additional resources, kingdom coaching, and more. Click the show notes for the link to join. So let's get into the episode.
But I really think staying kingdom minded is such a perfect way that we start our day, correct? Our job as women first, as wives, as moms, as friends, and as business owners is to always ask ourselves, how am I pointing others back to Jesus? How can I use this day to point others to his face? Not what I have to say. What does God's truth say? What does he have for us? How can I open my hands and surrender and walk through this day saying, Lord, this is my plan, but let me be open to what you have. And how can you use me and my business? How can it be for your glory, not for mine?
This was the best question of all of it. I was like, yes. So when I think of a kingdom-minded mompreneur, I think of somebody that wants to glorify God, somebody that wants to make him known. And, that's why we're created to be on earth anyway. Glorify God, make him known, and then make him known in the daily activities with her business and with her family, and that her priorities are right. That is when I hear kingdom minded mompreneur, that's what I think of. Daily activities. You are making God known. You are glorifying him with your business and with your family, and your priorities are right. That's what I think. That's what I think of. And I feel like you two are doing this so well, and you're going ahead of us. And as direct sales coaches, but you are going ahead of us in this. And so we can look to you, the Kingdom Mind Mompreneur podcast, but we can go to you and say, I want to do this even better. And so I applaud you for doing that in this podcasting space and in the space that you have with your membership and also with social media.
Oh my goodness. I've probably said that a little bit, but I can actually speak to that from personal experience recently, because I am now keeping my grandbaby 2 to 3 days a week. And so my kingdom has shifted a little bit to having a newborn. She's 9 months old now, but I started as soon as my daughter had her. I stayed with my daughter, and then I started keeping her as my daughter went back to work. She's a nurse, and so I have had to shift a little bit, even in my own business. Now, I will say what I just said to you about the structure. It's my best friend. And so keeping with that, I've just had to adjust it a little bit with having Lucy. But when I'm with Lucy, she's number one. And that's what I do. I pay attention to her, and I have zero guilt for that. And I will say the remedy for mom guilt is to plan your time, and to, when you are there, to be 100% in, and when you are not there, to tell your people, hey, just like I did this morning. I texted my daughter. She's going to I'm keeping Lucy at 10:45, but I texted her and said, I'm going to be in my podcast room on Do Not Disturb from, this time to this time. You feel free to come, and, you can be here all you want, and I'll see y'all when I get done. I have zero guilt about that, because she knows, well, mom's got a life too, but also it shows my children and my family that we're not one track people. We have, children and a husband. I mean, if we were one track, we would just be single forever. And there are people called to that. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying I'm not. I was called to get married to my husband, have a million children, and adopt a million children, and have a ton of businesses. If we wrote down all the businesses that my husband and I own between the two of us, we look like a mall. It's crazy. And so it's and also the moving 22 times in 25 years. Like, I mean, it's just
Oh, whoa, we missed that.
right. I didn't even touch on that. But being kingdom minded is that. It's being kingdom minded. It's cultivating what you've been given. It's nurturing what you've been given. It's paying attention and not letting life happen to you. You actually get a say in it. And if we didn't have a say in it, we'd all be robots. We do have a say in it. And so as long as it's in alignment, and guess what? You'll know when it's not in alignment. And so you know, and especially if you have the Holy Spirit within you, because you really know. And so you just kind of, and when you're not in alignment, you pivot. And I think that that's where you can keep that kingdom mind and top of mind awareness, is just, it is all his anyway. He owns it all. My hands are always lifted high and totally open. And because he owns it all, and he gives and takes, and money comes and goes, and people come and go. But the Lord will never leave you or forsake you. And that is what we've always held fast to within my family and within my mind. And I can't even begin to tell you how many times I say that in my mind, especially after a lot of trauma going on in our lives. But with all that said, and I could talk about the trauma all day long, but the redemption is so much sweeter. And I choose to focus on the redemption, because that's where, that's where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I definitely focus on the redemption and the what's next, and the best is yet to come. And Becky said it beautifully, that heaven is the very best for us. We don't even know what to expect there. We have a few glimpses of it in the Bible, but I don't even think we can wrap our brains around it, which is such a blessing. And it also reminds me, we can't even wrap our brains around the joy we get to experience on the earth. So you just have to walk in that, and you take the next right step. And my favorite quote of my husband, I will quote my husband here. When we first found out about our sweet baby Evan, a little baby in the hospital, and I looked at the lady at my church and said, yes, we'll take him, without even asking my husband. And I came home, and this was my husband's words to me: we will definitely take him. We will continue walking through the doors as they open until God tells us to stop. And that is our family motto. And we have done that, and it has served us so well.
I feel like the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur is a mom that understands that life is not going to always be perfect, right? But with God in your life, he helps you be able to create the life that he has for you and your kids. And then when you are a mom as well, like, okay, so with our kids, as a Kingdom Minded mom, we have to know that although we install the things into our children that we want them to learn and want them to know, they might go and be influenced by others, and they might do the opposite. So understanding that you must still always make sure that you set up the foundation for your kids, and don't beat yourself up if you notice one day that your kids are not being kingdom-minded children, because that's what they're installing them. Just know that this is just a moment that you have to pray a little more. Like, we got to pray a lot. A kingdom-minded mom must pray a lot over their family, over the people, because we know that we can do what we do in our home, but the world is out there, and there's so many worldly things that your kids can get tapped into and have. So just being a kingdom-minded mompreneur is also going to say, I feel like it puts God first. family second, and then the business is last. And if the top is off, meaning the relationship with God is not there with the mom and God, right? If there's no relationship there, then the family is also going to be off balance. So the family is then going to have problems. And then when the family is having problems, the business is definitely going to have problems, because you are the CEO of the business. But again, God is the main CEO. So it's like you have a CEO that's non-existent because you're not even letting him lead, which is God. And then you as a CEO, you don't have a foundation, because so a kingdom-minded mompreneur understands, I feel like, that there's levels to business. And in each level, you got to understand that without one, there is not the other. And you just, in order to keep it solid and keep the foundation there, you got to just make sure you pray. It's like daily activities you must do. You must, be good to yourself, talk nice to yourself, and just, try your best to be better day after day.
Yeah, I mean, it's all for him anyways, right? So, just making like, again, we've kind of said it at this point of my faith walk, like it's all for God, my relationship, my family, my business, like everything. So I walk in that, I'm very strict on saving my peace and the peace of other people. I don't allow for toxicity. I don't, allow for the runaround or people talking behind other people's backs and all of that stuff. Like my integrity for the Lord is everything. And again, when I'm serving my purpose, when I'm walking in what I'm supposed to be doing, which means believing in myself, empowering other women, being a light, sharing my story, don't stay stuck in the past. Like we all have a story. We all have things to share. We all, but when you try to hide that or cover that up, or, for those of you that are afraid to get on social media, you think you could never do what we do, like it's all there for a reason. Your testimony is a reason. And, a lot of my healing came from that. I don't share my story for like, oh, good for you. I share my story for you can do it too. And so that's basically what it means for me to always walk with the Lord and teach others how to do the same.
Oh, I love that question. And you know what? I feel like it's being in alignment with our assignment ultimately. And I feel like it's just like a muscle that you have to work out every day, right? It doesn't, just because we do it well doesn't mean that it always comes easy. And I want to encourage people with that, because I do believe I do it well, but it's not always easy, right? And that's why I do a lot of personal development. That's why I'm always really, practicing my faith and surrounding myself with other faith-filled women who can pour into me, remind me of who I am, why I do what I do, and whose I am, right? And so just being surrounded by the right people is so important. But for me, being a kingdom-minded mompreneur is really just knowing that it's okay to have your desires, but also being in alignment with what your priorities are, and having trust, knowing that the Lord will show you a way to make it all possible, right? And sometimes it does take time to learn what that is. For me, I became a stay-at-home mom. It was my dream. It was on my heart. I was so incredibly grateful that we were able to do that. And then I found myself lonely sometimes, right? And not fulfilled, and a really hard not contributing to my family financially when I've always been, a very successful businesswoman. And so sitting in that and really having faith of knowing that my story will come together, but my priority and my deepest desire of my heart is to be home with my children. And so I'm going to be in that now and find a way to fulfill these voids that I'm feeling. And then lo and behold, Isagenix has dropped into my life. No coincidences at all. But saying yes to opportunities when they're presented too, right? Again, being in alignment with your assignment, knowing I needed more, knowing that I was unfulfilled in certain ways. So, okay, this is great. This is my answer. And so, knowing that it's okay to have our desires, but we have to, like you said, everybody has their own beliefs, but I truly believe that a lot of parents are not spending enough time in the home with their children these days. And we're doing such a disservice to our next generation. And you don't have to be a stay-at-home parent if that's not what you want to do. But life is so incredibly busy. People are going from here, there, and everywhere. We are so burnt out, but we need to find a way to show the next generation that we are here, that we are present. We are here for you. We're here to listen. We're here to mold you into, beautiful kingdom minded children so that you can grow up to be kingdom minded adults. And so just, being in alignment, knowing that it will all come together in such a beautiful way. And I am so incredibly grateful. And for me, ultimately, just knowing that my family comes first and my business comes second. And I know that when I am taking care of my family in the way that I need to, my business will flourish, because I believe Jesus is the CEO of my life, my business, everything that I do. And so when I'm showing up as the mom and wife that I need to be, and daughter of him, he takes care of the rest, right? And so my business then flourishes as a result of that.
So I feel like we have a duty, not only to our families, like I said at the beginning, this whole mindset of martyring yourself for your family and your kids, and I've never been down with that. Like, I feel like we have an obligation to rise up too, and to find our way, whatever that may be. It doesn't have to be a business owner, but work on yourself and inspire the best out of your family. Like, be the linchpin. I always say that a rising tide lifts all ships, and as moms, we are the tide. We're the tide. So finding your way in that is super important. And then just knowing that through business, through fitness, through your podcast, you can touch lives and further the kingdom impact is really, it's a great responsibility. It's not easy, especially in the world that we live in now. I talk about my faith openly. I talk about how I intertwine it and how I see it in fitness and nutrition. Because it's part of the big picture of everything. We're here to do great things. I believe that we were all called and made to do great things. And we just have to get out of our own way to do that. And as moms, we have the responsibility. We have the responsibility. I see down the road, I want my sons to think my mom has never given up. She's always worked hard through the hard times. Right now is a hard season, right? Network marketing is hard right now. But they've seen me fight since they were born. They've seen me transform my body, I don't know how many times. They've seen me run a marathon. They've seen me build this business, walk across stages, speak on stages, like do things that are hard. And I believe that gives them permission to do the big, giant, hard things too. And that is what's really important to me, is showing other moms and my children, my husband, that we can do so much more if we just believe in ourselves and put our heads down, get to work, be good people, believe in God, and things will fall into place. They will. He's always protected us. I pray, I thank God every day for that. Through the challenges, through the ups and downs, he's always been there, always protected me and my family. And I know he'll continue to do that. I just need to keep showing up as my best self, faithful, obedient, and as a servant.
Being a mom who is a mompreneur, if you will, again, it starts with your identity. If you do not know how God created you, you will spend all of your life wrestling and not feeling any peace. Like, you're actually not supposed to be anxious every day. You're actually not supposed to be restless every day. As a believer, we have access to the throne of grace. And if we're connected there and we surrender, it does feel scary. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't. Like, that was what the whole grieving process was for me. But it's a much more freeing place to be, even as a business owner. If you just allow God to be God and you to be his vessel. And I'm not trying to dismiss anyone. Like, I know that sometimes when I share hard truths, it sounds like I'm being dismissive. It's not that. It's just really, we were created for God's glory. Like, we weren't created for self. And it's just much easier after the fact, after the grieving, after the loss of killing your flesh, right? To settle into the groove that God has given you as a businesswoman and a mom. The home is always priority first. I've lived a life where that wasn't so. I just shared some of that, but my children are my first disciples. Used to be a scary thought. Now knowing and actually believing that I cannot save them, but I can pour into them the best of my ability. That I actually do get to emulate Christ to them. I want them to have a greater understanding of who Jesus is because I was their mom.
Yeah, thank you, Becky. And I think it's a great question. I love that title. I really believe that that is a woman who knows who she is, and it's because she knows whose she is. I think it's a woman who understands what her unique God-given gifts and talents are, and she uses her business as a vehicle to live into that and to spread that to others and to be a light onto others so that we can all be better together. I think that's absolutely really our blessing, right? Is to live in the full vision of who God created us to be and to share that so we bring out the best in others.
Am I the only one that literally had chills and like tears and just a plethora of emotions as you were listening? Oh my word. Just my heart is full. My cup is full. I am ready to run, ready to spread God's word, ready to show up so that I can be the best version of myself, which I know will impact so much more than just me. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating, pass this episode along to your business bestie, share it with your team, because it helps us get our message out and impact more lives.
Thanks so much for listening to the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur. If you loved what you heard today, could you stop and give us a 5-star rating and review? It helps our visibility on podcasting platforms so others like you can hear more of this message.
Also, if this episode encouraged you, we would love for you to pass it along to your own biz bestie and anyone else who could benefit. Lastly, don't forget that if you want to hang out with us just a little bit more, join us inside the Kingdom Minded Mompreneur community. Click the link in the show notes. Bye for now.